Howdy do, buckaroos. Yes, this video is 40 minutes long. I don't have an excuse. If it makes you feel better, it took me 5.5 hours to build it. So at least you're not watching that, you know? Does that make you feel better? No, that's a reasonable thing. Also, okay. So, I don't have any sort of money for a setup, you know, like with a fancy computer or an actual microphone. So I just record my voiceovers on my phone, and for some reason, the GPS on my phone thinks I'm at the Serbian American Museum? And I don't even know where that is, but I guess it's nearby. For context, I live in Lakeview in Chicago. I guess maybe I should go looking for the Serbian American Museum. I feel like that's some sort of sign from the universe. But also, I just have no idea what that is. Anyway, this is a shell challenge. I used to do this a lot when I was just building for the gallery, where I would just search shell challenge and do them because I was bored. So this is a shell challenge. Like I said, it took me 5.5 hours to fully furnish this. This shell is massive. There are, I'm pretty sure, 4 floors. Yeah, 4 floors in this shell. And it wasn't really rotatable. I would really have liked to rotate it. And just see what the other options were, but because of, you can see it's got like a little driveway thing in the front, and then there's all of that terracing in the back. I couldn't rotate it, so I was just kind of stuck with this. And it had to be on this Strangerville lot, according to this person's rules, which I think was a really fun twist on it, because usually I just like plop it on the biggest, emptiest lot and try and figure out where I'm going from there. So I thought it was very interesting to limit the lot. What else did I want to say about this preface? I don't know. I had no idea who this person who built this shell was. But I have since looked them up, and I'm still really not sure who they are. But hey, I've never been one to not do a shell challenge. So I'm doing a shell challenge because I enjoy them. I've been doing this odd, like, brick industrial thing lately. Not sure why, but I'm having fun with it. And yeah. Yeah, so it's residential. And I was trying to figure out what to do with that, because normally if I was building a house this big, it'd be like 100 baby challenge. But with the weird vibe I was going with, which is this odd brick industrial thing, it didn't make sense to make it like a place where a bunch of kids were living. I don't know what about that just bothered me. So, this is a boarding house for university students instead. Ta-da! Yeah. Which basically just means it's a really large house. But I found it was a really good way to use up the space, because this shell is massive. Like, truly massive. Way, way bigger than it needs to be on any level. And because it was a shell, I did the outside first. I mean, I almost always do the outside first. But I also didn't really consider the outside when I did the inside, so it does that thing where, like, the walls intersect some of the bigger windows. But I wasn't super concerned about it. Yeah. I played with stair shapes a little bit, but not too much. I just kind of wanted to, like, fit them into the existing shapes and corners in this build. I don't remember what I ended up doing with those stairs. It's been days since I did this build portion. I probably should have split this video into, like, my building out of the shell, like putting a layout in it and designing the outside. and then done furnishing as a separate video, because the furnishing was not my friend. It took, that's the bulk of this, is me trying to furnish this absolutely massive space. But what I did to fill some of that space is that every bedroom has enough space that I put like a sitting area in it. So it's essentially every bedroom has a living room just in it. There's a master bedroom for whoever is in charge, if that's what we want to say. And every bedroom also has its own bathroom. There is a bathroom on the first floor, and the master bedroom has a bigger bathroom. Because I just did my normal 2x3 bathroom setup, so shower, sink, toilet, for all of the rooms. There's so much porch space and so much random open space, but I didn't want to close it off. My biggest, like, weird pet peeve when building in The Sims is that I don't want my Sims to have to, like, walk through somebody else's space to get to an amenity. So, like, if there's a bathroom and it's the only bathroom on the floor, but it's technically the master bathroom, I'm going to put a door from the master bedroom and the open space so that they don't have to walk through the bedroom to get to it, because I just don't like that. It just bothers me. I wouldn't want that if it was my space. Don't come through my bedroom for anything. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna put it somewhere easier than that. So I do that here, but it also affects my layouts. Like, I feel like people shouldn't have to walk through the kitchen to get to the dining room. So I know that one doesn't make any sense, but it's just something that I do. So, whatever. I decided, because I started to build like a normal kitchen, just massive, and I thought, well, if it's massive anyway, and there's gonna be 8 adult Sims living here at all times, why not just make it like a clearly communal space? So I put in three stoves, and 2 fridges, and 2 sinks. And then if I put in a couple appliances. Normally when I build a kitchen, I don't put in appliances. Like, there's no microwaves in my Sims builds, generally. I'm not sure what it is about the appliances in the Sims. I feel like they're just not that useful. So they just kind of take up space. Generally, and it's because of my play style. I mean, what I mostly do is 100 Baby Challenge when I'm playing. So I don't want anything to get in the way of, like, counter space I need to make large meals. And yeah, so counter space has always been more important to me. But in some place like this, counter space was not an issue. So I put in some appliances. There's like an espresso maker. I thought it was cute. I was having a good time. I feel like this kitchen, I spent a lot of time just putting random decorations down in this kitchen. I really like the idea of communal living, and I know most of my generation does, because we've kind of resigned ourselves to roommates for the rest of our lives. Most of us just really enjoy this idea of communal living. I hate that there aren't more rounded curtains, because I really liked these rounded windows, but I had to, like, scoot everything in the build away from the curtains. I think I do give up. Like, I just leave them clipping together, because I was annoyed. But you'll see me scooch things out of the way of the curtains in all of the other rooms, which is great. It's my favorite. Yeah, I just wanted to use more kitchen decorations, because I feel like there's some really kitchen-y wall hanging stuff that doesn't get used other places in a build, but also I never decorate the walls, because usually I do, like, full-blown cabinets. But because the wall height is ridiculous, that's the other thing about shells, is that they generally have, like, icky wall heights, because anything above a short wall height is too high. You don't need that. Nobody needs that space. It's just gonna look barren, and then you need, like, ridiculous paintings, and everything looks and feels silly. So, but shells generally have weird wall heights, So these are tall walls. I was completely miserable the whole time, thank you very much. But yeah, so because cabinets look silly on tall wall heights, I had a lot more space to play with the kitchen wall decorations. Now I have moved on to bathrooms. Woo! I just do a basic furnishing in all of the bathrooms. For most of the build, I go back and do some really super basic decorations. I put mirrors in, I put rugs in, toilet paper holders, things like that. I go back through all the bathrooms and put those in almost at the very end, because I just didn't have it in me to furnish 9 bathrooms. I was just not having it. I was not having a good time. This was so much work. So much work. And the wall heights just made me mad the whole time. So I'm not even that happy with it. I was just, like, when it was done, I was just thrilled that it was done. That's me being determined to use that shower. So in every single one of these small bathrooms, I alt place that shower so that it doesn't clip into the wall. Because of course I do. Which means I have to alt place the sink and the toilet. And because I did that, I also have to alt place the mirrors over the sink. And I also have to alt place the rug. Because yeah. Any pauses in this? Just know that they were really long pauses. Because this is sped way up. I hope you appreciate that you're only watching 40 minutes of my 5.5 hours. But if you see a pause, that was a very long pause. But my pauses are because, now I'll get into what I actually wanted to talk about instead of just complaining about the shell. Is that I don't know how people stream their builds, because I have to have some other form of media happening while I'm building, or I just get like bored and frustrated. But I kind of have to zone out and go into build mode. I know. So I have to kind of get away from the fact that I'm building in order to build for 5.5 hours. So normally, one of my go-tos is Drawfee, because they are really creative and fun, but also they're just funny to listen to. I just really enjoy the audio that comes with zoning out and watching Drawfee. So I put Drawfee on in the background, and in one of the more recent episodes, it might even be the most recent episode depending on when I get this 5.5 hours up, was the episode in which they draw self-insert characters for their favorite anime. And Julia's favorite anime is Violet Evergarden, which is a Netflix anime, if you don't know what Violet Evergarden is. And a lot of people don't. It's a very, it's a lesser known anime. I will say this, I am recommending it. I had a great time. I put it on, I actually watched the whole thing while at some point during this build. So, it's very short. It's only, I think, like 13 episodes long. It's on Netflix. It's only one season. I think it has an accompanying manga, but I have not looked that far into it. But I do want to give a warning that it is mostly about war. It's about essentially a child soldier who comes back from the war and is trying to live a normal life. But that does mean you get a lot of, like, pretty disturbing war flashbacks, and Violet Evergarden, the main character, loses her arms in the war, so it's unsettling. It's decidedly unsettling. But it is very verbal. There's narration over most of it, and she writes letters, so they narrate all the letters, which is lovely. One, just because I'm an auditory person, and it frustrates me how much of media is visual, which is understandable. It makes way more sense than what my brain likes. but that does make it hard to find media that I can actually focus on. So it was a very auditory experience. I had a lovely time. You kind of have to get past the first few episodes are very exhibition-y. That's not what I meant at all. She's a child. No, exposition-y. It is mildly death by exposition, but when you get past, I think it's like episode 3, I think you get past the first 3 episodes and you finally understand what's actually happening, and she starts writing letters for other people, and you get other perspectives and other stories that I very much enjoyed, and was well worth it. So if you see a big pause, like a noticeable pause, I stopped and was watching. Which happens actually quite rarely. I don't usually look at media, but that's what's happening, if it does. Yeah. I did a double bed. In my mind, this is where the person who owns the building lives, and they sort of have their own space. They're pretty self-sufficient inside this room. They can kind of do whatever they want in this room. Oh yeah, while I was going through the menus in each room, trying to give, like, hobbies, life to these rooms, I would find something that I wanted to put in a main room, and I would just go up and put it there. You'll see me just go from floor to floor and try and find something to focus on. It was quite difficult, because you get overwhelmed with, like, one floor and it's massive empty spaces. So you go to the next one and it's exactly the same, except it's more empty because you haven't done anything there yet. Yeah. Yeah, I think this room is pretty cute. It definitely suffers from my abundance of wall hangings issue, but I think the whole house does. I just feel like walls get so barren. But I've been trying, find other ways to fill them besides 6 different paintings. I made this floor like a recreational floor, so lots of college party stuff. I also, when I set the lot traits, I did make this a party place. So the idea here is that this is very much a party house, but the person who owns it doesn't mind that much. Because as long as they're safe and not destructive, then it's fine. Good times. The floor above is more of a study floor. I put the research machine and the robotics station. There's another game mat on this floor. I ended up moving the yoga stuff to the gym upstairs. So the very top floor's communal space is a gym. And I put yoga mats in up there, so I take out that yoga mat. But yeah, there's a paint, like, this is a skill building floor, very much. But I just kind of leave it. The pool is very basic. I didn't put in any, like, steam vents or bubblers or anything like that. It's just a pool with some neutral colors. It sort of matches the vibe of the house. Yeah, this is a relatively eco-friendly house. Because, like I said, this ended up being sort of my ideal, this communal living, sustainable thing. So there's space to sit outside, but there's also, sustainability stuff. Trying to think. What else was I thinking about while I was building this? The problem here is that I thought about so many things. I'm back from visiting my parents. Yes, my plants did die, but it's fine. They only mostly died. It's like in The Princess Bride, when he's only mostly dead, it was like that. Except they looked very dead, and I was super upset. But I think it's gonna be okay. I need to go through and trim back my morning glories, because the whole first 1.5 feet is just dead leaves, and I need to cut them off so that I can get some new growth in, and that it'll stop trying to deal with those dead leaves, because it's just dead. They're like brown. But past that, it's all still vaguely green. It definitely took a hit. Even the green leaves are a little wilted and sad, but they are alive. They're still taking in water. I think they're gonna be fine. My basil looks great. I have no idea how that happened, but my basil looks great. Who knows? Yeah, not super exciting. Nothing to report in Georgia, aside from the fact that my mother apparently watches these, although I don't know if she's got it in her to get through 40 minutes of me talking about nonsense. So we'll just have to find out, you know? Yeah. I wish I had, like, another human in the apartment, so she could get a break from my voice. Because we're only 20 minutes in, and I'm tired of hearing my voice. Oof. But I'm thinking, like, you know, Drawfee videos are this long. People watch those. I watch those. So maybe there's some merit in this. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I should explain a shell challenge for people who don't know what that is. Nobody's gonna watch 20 minutes into a video and not know what a shell challenge is, right? Right? I don't know. Well, so, if you don't know, shell challenge, side note, I really like the fabricated desks from Eco Lifestyle. Okay, backing back up. Shell challenge. A shell challenge is where, a simmer, usually a relatively popular simmer. Lil Simsy does them a lot, and I really like hers. She and I build in similar ways, so I never feel weird about hers. I've done a couple of Pumbellas. Those are always fun. Love shell challenges. That simmer will build a shell, which is just the walls, essentially, of a building. And generally, sometimes on the gallery when you find a shell, it means a completely constructed house, but no furnishings. Shell challenges are generally just the walls. So you'll have just white walls, and a lot of the time, it'll be something you can, like, rotate and find a front that you like. And then you build from there, and you decide, is this a house? Is this a community lot? Things like that. I might come for Zona's houses, so you got a house. You're welcome. But I found this shell challenge, and I didn't know the person, and it seemed like an incredibly difficult challenge. And it was. This shell is massive. But yeah. My shell challenges tend to be industrial, because I feel like with industrial builds you can get away with weird wall shapes and roofs that don't quite fit right. One of my favorite industrial builds I've ever done is, it's on the channel, it's a ways back now. It's a Little Simsy shell challenge, The Converted Factory. I really enjoy that. Yeah. Good times. There's a bunch of those around here. I'm sure you can find them, or on my gallery page there's more. I've just been doing this for ages, because generally it's a good way to chill out, unless you spend 5.5 hours on it, and then it's not anymore. So, there's that. Yeah. I think I might play in this build for a while and see, because I don't know if roommates do laundry. Do roommates do laundry? Probably not. So the person who owns the building would have to go through and do all of the laundry? I don't know. Do roommates do laundry? This is a genuine question. If you've gotten this far in the video, tell me if roommates do laundry. Because I never put laundry in any of my builds, ever. And now I'm thinking about it. And do roommates do laundry? Because I put laundry in this build. And that can't be good. Yeah, so I took a break from bedrooms to put those two little studies in. The big one on the 3rd floor? Let me think. No, the big one is on the 2nd floor. And I'm trying to think of the layout of it. You just saw it. You know which one I'm talking about. This is the little one, which is on the 4th floor? I should have been paying more attention. I don't know. But the big one has Kids Don't Wake the Llama table in it. I'm not sure why that cracked me up so much, but I like that there are separate Don't Wake the Llama tables for kids and adults. And I like the kids one better, so that's what I put down there. Got some more sustainability stuff. Trying to cut down on bills because this is going to be an incredibly expensive household. Because this build came up to 370,000 simoleons, I think, total, which is a lot. That's a lot of simoleons. Generally, my builds are not that expensive. Most of the time I try and do budget builds, because truly, by the time you have the simoleons to get a 370,000 simoleon house, you don't want to be playing that family anymore. So I try to build things that are more in the realm of like 100k, if I'm going to build fancy. Because that's pretty doable in a Sims lifespan. That could be like a ridiculous retirement home in the Hamptons, you know? Yeah, I don't mind that nearly as much. So yeah, I do the bedrooms in chunks because I got really tired of furnishing bedrooms. It turns out furnishing 8 bedrooms is going to make you a little mad at life. So I did the bedrooms in chunks. I did bedrooms when I could, and then when I got just so tired of it, I would do something else for a little bit. But I like the way the bedrooms turned out. I think they're very cute. I like all of them. I would live in all of them. But I would live in anything, to be fair. I'm really not that picky. Which is weird. I always thought I'd be really picky about where I lived. And then I started moving, and I just don't care anymore, as long as I can sit down, you know? But, in the bedrooms, I purposefully left open spaces on, like, the dressers. Sometimes on the side tables, but not really. It bothers me to see empty side tables. So I think I put lights on all the side tables, but the dressers are specifically left empty on top, because one of my absolute favorite things that roommates do in The Sims 4 is populate their own items. So if there's an empty space in the room where you assign them to sleep, they'll like put stuff on the desk and set stuff down. I love that. I don't know why I love it so much, but I love that. It's so cute. So I tried to leave space for that to happen. In this room, I just really wanted to use that weird kids shelf. I recently got kids room stuff, because there was that massive sale where everything was 50% off, so it was like $5 to get kids room stuff, and because I mostly do 100 baby builds, it's really helpful for me to have kids room stuff. But the wall hangings, I thought could probably be more versatile, so I really wanted to use that random kids room shelf, so I just stuck it in there. You can see it just like randomly on the wall while I'm trying to figure everything else out. I think it's cute. I especially like the little dog painting on it. I think deeming that a kid's item, though, does it a disservice. Because, you know, everybody loves knickknacks. I think it's a cute little knickknack shelf with a little dog picture, and I think the whole thing is very fun. Yeah. So, I tried to furnish these, like, college kids I know who... Now, I go to art school, if I'm being honest and fair to the world. I go to art school. So, admittedly, Weird kids. I know a lot of weird kids. I myself am a very weird kid. My wall decorations consist of awards I was given in High School Musical Theater that have been drawn onto paper plates. So, my perspective on things is a little skewed. But I decorated these rooms like college kids I know, which means they're pretty weird. But it is fun. And I can imagine my friends living in this space, which is the joy of it. That is sort of why I built it the way I built it. Is because I can totally see the people in my existence using all of these spaces, which is, why I made the spaces the way I did. And everybody was always in trouble for having too many people in whatever space they lived in. So I made this one big. It's not possible to have too many Sims in this massive shell. It's so huge. What was the intention? I wonder what the... I should ask, after the winner gets announced for this shell challenge, I should ask what the person who built this was going to do with it, if she even did. I always like it when the person that originates the shell challenge builds something with their shell, because then you could see sort of what their intention was with all of their weird shapes. And then sometimes you know then that they were just putting down weird shapes because they're starting to build this thing and they just can't do it because the shapes are too weird. That's delightful. I very much enjoy that. Yeah. I don't ever use the square coffee tables, so I tried to use that square coffee table there. And I like that there's storage in it. I think it's like a parenthood item. I like that there's drawers. I like the storage in it. But it's so huge that in a normal space, it's just way too big. The landscaping is super boring, and I apologize in advance, but when you've been furnishing for hours, the last thing you want to do is detailed landscaping. I barely had the patience even for just this much landscaping. And because it had to be on this Strangerville lot, I used the Strangerville flowers. And then just grass and rocks. Did super, very basic landscaping just on this one terrace level. So I didn't landscape the pool level or the two above it. Because Strangerville is so rocky. And you'll see those, you've probably seen those like really harsh jumps. That means I had to stop and take a break because I was dying. So I stopped and went to do something else for a minute before I kept furnishing. I just brute forced this furnishing. I just kept going. It was miserable. It was really very miserable. But I did it! And I think it'll be a fun space to play in. Did you know that you can't lift those plates? Those decorative plates? I had never noticed before that you can't use the 9 key to lift up those plates before if you want to alt place them. Like I just did there with that flower. I had never noticed before. But that was annoying. It was super annoying. And because I wanted to use those plates. Because I never use those plates. I used a lot of things I don't normally use. Yeah. I'm trying to think. What else went into this? Got a few more minutes. Talk some more. Do some more things. Well, you guys want to hear about dogs? I did set up an account on Rover. So hopefully I can walk some dogs and have some more money so that I'm not thinking about rent and student loan payments so much. Hopefully I can get I'm thinking at the beginning I probably will only be making like $100, couple $100 a month, which is fine. That's more than the nothing I've had being completely unemployed, so I need to keep that in mind. But I just know that like once people know that I'm out there, I can make a decent amount of money, but also I'd be crazy busy, like there would just always be a random dog, which I guess could be kind of fun. Random dog. Did I not? Okay, I'm realizing now that I don't think I put tile in... No, I did. I did put tile in the bathroom, on the bathroom floors. It's just gray. It looks like I didn't, but I'm pretty sure I did. That would be an incredibly silly oversight at this point. But I wouldn't put it past me. Did you guys see me put tile in? Does anybody know? That was so long ago. I suppose I could just back up the video and watch, but I'm not going to. So. Oh man. I really like this metal flooring. I'm not sure why I like this metal flooring. It's not like it's nice or cute. I just like this metal flooring. I always put metal flooring in my like converted factory builds. I like always do that. If it wasn't metal, it would be wood, and I don't know why, but the wood just felt too like homey. Does that make sense? Something about wood floors. Because this still is a boarding house. So they got a lot of free reign. I was watching, so Phoebe Waller-Bridge is the light of my life. If you don't know who that is, she wrote Fleabag. She's also written a little bit of Killing Eve. What else has she done that people would know about? She's writing the new James Bond movie. But she wrote a BBC series a few years back called Crashing. And it's pretty good. It's on Netflix. It's only one season. So if you want to watch that, that's another piece of media. For some reason, I've been watching TV lately, which is new. I'm just bored. There's nothing to do because, you know. Anyway, life things. So I'm watching Crashing, and they live in an old hospital. They're being... they're given cheap housing to be quote-unquote property guardians, which I did promptly look into right after that, thank you very much. But apparently property guardians are not given very many rights as renters, because technically they're not renters, they're property guardians, which means you can get screwed over super easy. And that is not something that sounded good to me. So I'll keep an eye on it if there's any really cool old buildings, but I don't think that is something I will be doing. But the aesthetic of this super old, run-down, terrible hospital was one I really liked. I liked the idea of these young people living in this cheap housing because it's what they could afford, and like having no money and being ridiculous people. Because that's, you know, if you're gonna be ridiculous anyway, might as well be in a ridiculous situation, is what I always say. All the time. Trust me, I say it. So, you know, I found it very fun. I had a very good time. Where was I going with that? I was going somewhere. I think it had something to do with the weird factory aesthetic of this place that I'm building. I'm sure it made sense to somebody, right? Did you get it? I've asked you a lot of questions. Put all the answers in the comments or I'm gonna be so sad. That's just, you know, honest. Just being honest. Did anybody catch that I put the woodworking bench with a large mirror behind it so that you're forced to look at your face while you're carving wood? I just found that delightful. I almost never use those get-together benches in that swatch. I'm not sure why. I think it's because yellow doesn't usually go well with whatever outdoor vibe I have going, but I thought they looked cute. So I stuck them in. I put a little sign outside of the boarding house. You know, some outdoor decoration. I finished my super boring landscaping. Again, sorry, at least there's trees. You know, I could have not put any trees in. I definitely thought about it. But there's trees, so, you know. It's such a huge building. It looks so weird. I should have made it into a community lot of some kind. Bars really lend themselves to shell challenges. Should have done a bar. But a 4-story bar? Like, what? Should have done, like, a combination thing. Bowling alley. A spa. See, now I'm regretting this whole thing. Should have done a spa. Yeah, towards the end here, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you to like and subscribe, because I am running out of time. How did I talk for 40 minutes and then start running out of time? But towards the end here, I started adding like weird girders and things to the outside so that it looked better in the gallery, because we're still dealing with automatic thumbnails. Anyway, screenshots. I hope you enjoyed 40 full minutes of me rambling. Again, this is a shell challenge. I'll put all the info on the person who built this shell in the description. Yeah, give it a go. I think this is open for days still. I feel like it's on the 20-something that she's gonna announce a winner on this. So yeah, go ahead, do shell challenges. They're a great way to stretch your legs and build in spaces that you normally wouldn't, and it's a good time. I'm gonna say again, like and subscribe, because I realized I do have time. And watch all the things I talked about, because they're delightful, especially Violet Evergarden. I know I kind of sold it as a gory, upsetting thing, which it is. But it was worth it. I had a wonderful time. So yeah, see you later. You know? Yeah, alright. I got 10 seconds left. I feel like I should keep talking. 10 seconds is a long time. I got more than 10 seconds. Now I got 10 seconds left. Oh man. Do you like the screenshots? I feel better about the screenshots.